And
Cool.
to close things off, finally, at long last, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Ah, boy.
So I'll just kind of start things off. So yeah, 2014 for me was the year for Marvel, boy. They had two solid movies under their belt. First being Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which still remains my favorite movie of 2014. This one came and just blew me away literally. I just
And it
love
was, for me,
everything
still,
about that
a
film.
lot of people, I've seen a lot of people rating it differently, but for me, is amongst the best of the MCU,
It
personally.
is. And it remains, and we'll get to this in a bit, it remains to me the best sequel of any of all the MCU movies thus far.
Yeah.
You know, better than Thor, better than Iron Man. And we'll get to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 in a bit. And yes, in the same year, we also got Guardians of the Galaxy, which was a film that I was excited for. A lot of people went into this not knowing a single thing about who these characters are. They just knew the actors on board. They knew Chris Pratt, of course. They knew Zoe Saldana. They knew Dave Bautista, you know. They knew all these people. They knew Bradley Cooper. They knew Vin Diesel. And, you know, we came out just surprised and blown away. This was like, you know, the Star Wars of the 2010s. A lot of people call it that. And yes, this was in terms of like box office numbers, this was the most successful movie of the year. And rightfully so. And I watched it again, well, probably like about the fifth time, you know, prior to watching Volume 2, and it still holds up to me. Right now, it is one of my favorite Marvel MCU movies, like, ever. It really holds up. I really do
First
love
one,
it. Yeah, the first one.
Yeah.
So, of course, going into Volume 2, you're excited. You can't wait to see what they do next. But then again, you have to think about, you know, MCU's track records when it comes to sequels. You know, case in point, Iron Man 2 and, you know, Thor, The Dark World. So, you know, it is easy to go into this thing with a bit of skepticism. Like, yeah, will this thing really live up to the hype? Or will it not? I don't know. So, Ricardo, you just want to fill us in on what the premise is without spoiling too much?
Yes. So, this premise follows up from a little introduction of a character known as Peter Quill. They kind of follow up on what's going on with him from the first film. In the first film, they mention that he's a kind of a special boy.
Yeah.
And they explain why. And they explain why and what's going on there. Basically, that's the whole plot. The whole plot is to explain, well, why Peter Quill is so special.
Yeah.
And they explain, they don't do any major, like, overall MCU stuff. In fact, this movie is surprisingly isolated from the rest of the MCU. Because they don't really bring in Infinity Gem. They barely mention Xandar in this one.
They barely mention Thanos at all.
They barely mention Thanos.
You don't even see Thanos in this movie at all.
No, we don't see him at all. But in fact, the only mention of him is something that I thought they could have probably cut out. It was largely unnecessary to the main plot. It is thematically very strong, but I thought it didn't tie together very well.
Yeah, but we forgot to mention to the rest of the Guardians, they are given their own. Well, they're given their own kind of little mini adventure, so to speak. So we have you know, we have Rocket Raccoon, once again played by Bradley Cooper. Baby Groot. Yeah. Well, Groot, now called Baby Groot, played by Vin Diesel once again. And another character from the first film by the name of Yondu, played by Michael Rooker. They have their own little separate adventure. Gamora, once again played by Zoe Saldana, has her own little side story in terms of her sister. Nebula, played by Karen Gillan. Dave Bautista, who plays Drax the Destroyer, he has a particular little story with a new character named Mantis. What's the actress's name? Pom Clementif, I believe that's how you pronounce her name. So it's just like, basically for me, this movie kind of reminds me a lot of Empire Strikes Back, not just because of the bigger and bolder, you know, storytelling, but because of how our favorite heroes are kind of separated, so they have their own little different adventure going on, and they all meet up together in the end. And not just that, but also, slight little spoiler, even though you saw it in the trailers, we have the aspect of one of our protagonists, the reveal of his father, who is played by Kurt Russell. You know, there's something very important with him. And, of course, we have some other characters, one of them being Aisha, who is leader of this race of aliens, these ghoul skinned aliens called the Sovereign, who pretty much hire the Guardians to do a job. and then one of the
Right.
characters do something bad, and then it's just pretty much them kind of chasing them through in this kind of Firefly kind of aspect, kind of chasing them all through the galaxy. So it's all these different things in this one movie.
This movie, as I said, it kind of suffers from sequelitis.
Yes, it does.
I didn't hate
God, it does.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, but here's the thing. To me, here's how I kind of demarcate good movies from great movies. A good movie has good theme and good narrative. A great movie has good theme and narrative intertwined with each other seamlessly. And that's what this movie didn't really do so well. It just, everything felt somewhat disjointed and a bit it lacked focus in my opinion. So the theme is strong.
Yeah, it is.
The whole theme is about fatherhood and family, and the narrative itself was okay. Well, it was like a kind of classic. Well, the kind of running talking point for this point is that it's a kind of typical Star Trek episode, like a TOS Star Trek episode.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the working talking point I noticed, and I kind of noticed that as well. Is that alright? That kind of interesting, but it wasn't that cool when they reveal like what the quote unquote villain was up to, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Right. And it had a kind of typical Star Trek kind of vibe to it. And that I thought they would have done something more interesting there. Didn't really do that. It was kind of not that interesting. Or at least I should say the concept could have been interesting if they fleshed it out a little better. Right? They just explain it, and it was just a big info dump, and I couldn't really attach myself to that. And because so much of the side characters' narrative didn't really wrap up particularly well. In fact, I'll go as far as saying one of the side stories could have been cut from the narrative entirely. I didn't really feel, this story as well. It just didn't flow as well. So the first movie had a couple problems with that plot thing, because it was just this villain, and he just had a MacGuffin, and he's gonna do this, and the Guardians have to stop it. Straightforward, but it flowed better. This one didn't really flow better. It just was a little meandering, and it again suffered from sequelitis. But the good in it is really good in this movie. Visuals, amazing. Sound and the music, great. The humor, great. Kind of amazing actually. It's like much better than the first film. And then the action was okay, but all the action kind of stopped the movie. And again, that seemed not really addressing the main plot very well. It just seemed to like be a set piece and then move on. So it was just to serve for jokes.
Yeah.
But this one, because I think it didn't really serve the main narrative particularly well and didn't tie together as good as the first film, I didn't like this one anywhere as much as the first film. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
You could.
All right. Well,
that's kind of the quick initial.
Okay. Well, I agree with you for the most part, though. Visually, this movie is wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I loved about the first movie was just how visually spectacular and gorgeous it looked, and at first I actually would put this as the first movie, of course, being probably the best in terms of visuals of all the MCU movies. This one right here, Volume 2, trumps the first movie by far. Like, a huge majority of the shots in here look so gorgeous, so beautiful. Beautiful. And just because of the bright colors, the kind of psychedelic vibe of it, it's just visual eye candy. And like, I made this joke after watching the show. Like, I imagine like in the next 5-10 years, they'll have this somebody will put out an article about best movies to watch while high. And they would put this movie, Volume 2 on this list. Because, my God, I can just imagine people in the next 5-10 years just taking, like, hallucinogens or, smoking weed and just getting high to this show. And I'll get to the whole drug thing in a bit, right? So, from a visual standpoint, this movie is gorgeous. It's probably the most gorgeous MCU movie I have ever seen. And I can't wait to hear, okay, for best visual effects, you're gonna nominate this show. Like, I'm rooting for this show to be nominated for best visual effects for next year Academy Awards or some other awards or whatever, right?
Yeah, it might get best cinematography maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking the same
or
thing
something
too.
Along.
Yeah. Story wise, I really do like the fact that they went out of their way to be, a lot grander, a lot bigger, a lot bolder. Because a sequel, though, you expect that, especially when it comes to sci-fi. You've seen this historically, with a lot of sci-fi franchises. The catch is always to be bigger and better than before. And yes, it is bigger. The stakes are a little bit higher, you could say. But I really did feel the scale, of how big the sequel is. But I have to agree with you, it does suffer from sequel-itis. It's this thing about just being bigger and bigger, and everything just had to be big, and everybody just have to get the time to shine. Everybody have to have a moment.
I think that's the thing with Gunn. So Gunn, because he loves his characters, he ended up choosing character over plot in this. You could tell.
Yes.
And from his standpoint, it felt like a kind of opportunity cost. He was like, all right, well, I could either have this scene and have this whole scene fleshing out this character, or cut it and make the story work better. And he didn't seem to care. He's like, all right, no, make the characters work more than this.
Exactly.
As I say, there's stuff that I personally would have cut, but I suppose if I was in his place, I'd probably do the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah, like I like the fact, and once again, this is really going to audiences' expectations. They want more of the good stuff that they got with the first movie, right? So yes, you get to see more Groot. In this case, he's a baby. He's a baby now. So and there were a lot of moments where some of the female patrons who were with me were like going, oh, every time he's on screen, he has these really funny moments as well. So yes, you get your Groot, you get your Rocket, you get your Drax, who, by the way, for me, stole the show. I did not expect Dave Bautista to have that much comedic range. I thought he was the funniest thing in the whole show.
The humor in this was amazing. In fact, it was like Drax is my favorite. He was my favorite in the first film. He's so funny in this and so goddamn savage.
Exactly. Just how brutal he is with his opinions. Though. Like,
no, but it was so
you just
good.
watch him and be like, yeah, you're ugly, ha ha ha. I laugh at you.
No, but it was so good. His comedic timing was so good that even the stuff that I saw in the trailer, you watch it over in the full context of the scene, it's still really funny. Like that whole thing with the emotions and involving Mantis
with Mantis reading the emotions. It's like, ha ha ha.
Right.
He read your deepest, darkest secrets. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, the whole sequence was still really funny. They just did such a good job with that. So the humor was on point.
Yeah, it was.
And it wasn't that. Some of it felt a little ham-fisted and kind of corny, but it still had that kind of trauma kind of humor to everything. And that's James Gunn, so it's like that's part of his signature anyway. So I didn't really feel that.
Exactly.
But I didn't mind, so it was fine.
Right, and I also like the fact that you get to see more moments with with your favorite characters. So we got to see more of of Rocket having to learn to be a team player and having to work with people and all that kind of stuff. I'm glad they get those moments. I really love what they did in terms with Yondu's character, because for me, like with Michael Rooker, he's the actor who for me tends to play a-holes. So like case in point, not Gladiator, sorry, Cliffhanger. That was the first time I ever saw him act in a movie, and I was like, yeah, he's a real asshole though, but still. And yes, there is another actor from that movie. I'm not gonna say who also appears in this, and just seeing both of them together, it's like, yeah, Cliffhanger once again. I saw that.
Right. Yeah.
But I like that they give him some character depth, and you really realize that he's not that bad or terrible of a person. At least he's trying to be good. I like how they did that, and the way how his character arc, especially how that ended, was so on point.
His arc served of good purpose, I think, in the movie. It tied in very, very well for the most part.
It did.
I would have done a couple of difference with the action itself, but it worked. It totally worked, and I totally got what he was trying to do there. But then it had another character that just didn't need to be in this movie entirely. I would have probably cut her. Kind of spoiling it already.
Yeah.
But you could probably guess who I'm talking about with that her, right?
Yeah.
It didn't really. I get it. I get why they did it from a character standpoint, but it didn't gel to the main narrative very well, in my opinion.
Well, for
it
me,
was just.
Yeah, well, for me, unfortunately, what I would say is that they didn't do much with it. So case in point, the relationship, between Gamora and Star-Lord. Well, yeah, Peter Quill,
right,
which was one highlight out of many from the first film. I wish that they didn't really do much of it. It just kind of came as an afterthought, like nearing the end of the second act. Like, oh yeah, they Star-Lord does like Gamora, and there's one scene where he's dancing to this, this really excellent love song from like the 60s or whatever. I was like, oh yeah, it reminds me of that moment from the first film where they were dancing together. But it's like they didn't really spend that much time on the two of them, just more on Star-Lord and his father, and then all these different duos basically. So it's all about these duos dealing with particular issues. And then at times I felt that the film kind of focuses more on one than the other. So like there's this huge chunk of time devoted to to Rocket and Groot and Yondu trying to break out of a prison, and then at a point in time you forget, oh well, this story is about Star-Lord and his father, and then you forget, and then they try to do this thing with Gamora and and Nebula, and sometimes they kind of touch on it and then they forget about it. Like, oh yeah, Nebula's in this movie as well too. And then when she's there, they try to give her a little moment, for her to really make it, feel sorry for her. And like, while I get where she was coming from in terms of the dialogue, I felt that the performance was a little hammy, a little over the top. It was just her kind of scowling and being angry, like, me like that. But that's how her character was. But I felt like at that moment where she had to be dramatic, it's kind of like, yeah, just tone it down a little bit. I'm not saying that Karen Gillan is a terrible actress. I actually love her as an actress, from early days at Doctor Who and stuff. But I just felt with the character of Nebula, she kind of went a little overboard. She just needed to tone it down a bit. And yeah, we do get all these character moments and stuff, but still, it was just so much going on into a story to the point that you almost kind of forget, hey, it's about Star-Lord. Is it about Star-Lord, or is it about Rocket? Is it about Yondu? Is it about everybody? It's kind of hard to kind of stay focused. It's just all over the place. And once again, sequelitis. Everybody have to have their time in the sun, and but you just wish that the movie itself could stay focused on like a few characters for us to really stay engaged, and ultimately it just really felt like it was just all these things going on, and then it's all the excuse. Well, the only saving grace is that you have all this gorgeous psychedelic visuals to the point that I can imagine somebody going into this thing not understanding a lick of what going on, just say, I tried to care, but I don't really care. Fuck it, let's just get high and just watch psychedelic visuals, just watch all this eye candy. Wow, you know what I mean? I don't really care about what's going on.
They had some excellent sequences, and just like there are a ton of these shots in the movie, like all of these, like basically it's like, oh, this had to be my computer background now, Joe.
Yeah, there were a lot of wallpaper shots. I call them wallpaper shots. Tons, and tons of them. But fortunately, what saves the movie is the characters and the actors playing the characters. If it wasn't for them, I would have just been watching this show. I'd just be like, I don't understand a single thing what's going on. I don't understand Kurt Russell's get up. I don't understand what he's talking about here. Yes, he does a lot of exposition, here or there, but still it's like, I just don't get. Just throw in all these crazy visuals and a lot of humor, and I'll just laugh at this and just get high. But fortunately, because of the characters and the actors play them, and to a lesser extent the story itself, because yes, you could complain about how the story is focused, but still, it's trying to say something. I have to give credit to James Gunn and the writers of this film for really, for really still attempting to stay true to its theme of family and friendship and all that kind of stuff. At least it stayed true to that. It just like, because of the characters is going here, there, everywhere. It just tends to just go all over the place, but still, it has this foundation, and I'm glad that it still holds up throughout the entire movie. So, it's not like, well, it kind of loses track. Well, okay, story-wise, it loses track, but the theme is still there, and it still kind of keeps everything grounded. So, I have to give credit, for the movie for that. What else is there? The humor is still on point. There are a lot of moments where you will be laughing. The action sequences are still on point. There are some moments where it kind of treads on Saturday morning cartoon territory, but then
that's service film though.
I wouldn't really call that a huge negative though, because it is James Gunn. It is Guardians of the Galaxy. It is about being wild and crazy and over the top. You know what I mean? So why not just have fun while doing so? So I can't say, well, it's too much of a Saturday morning cartoon with all these visuals and all these sight gags, all that kind of stuff. You kind of expect that, you know what I mean? There are moments where it kind of goes a little too far. There are a few moments where the jokes kind of run for too long, like this one scene where
one scene that
where Star-Lord was supposed to get some tape. So it's like Rocket asking for tape, and I felt that one just went on for far too long. Like, yeah, we get the point. Come on, move on. You know what I mean? But still,
they could have cut that.
Yeah, but still, I can't say that I hated the show. I mean, I actually enjoyed it a lot. but I just wish that I enjoyed it a lot more. It really was a little bit of a letdown. I would safely say that, you know, the first one was way better just because of how focused it was in its story. It introduces characters and, of course, making us care about what's going on. But here, we do care about the characters, and it's really because we've seen them before, we love them. But I just felt that the story really could have done them way more service instead of just adding all these different things and just making everything seem kind of convoluted. And like I say, I know some people might go in and come out of it kind of enjoy the film, but still kind of like, yeah, but I kind of don't really get what the story was about. It wasn't really like, you know, basic or straightforward. It's just a bunch of different things going on, making it all convoluted. But fortunately, it kind of wraps up. So, you know, it kind of wraps up in the end, but still I wish that it wasn't all that convoluted and all over the place. Once again, sequelitis.
Yeah. For me, this was one of those that I had a ton of fun in this movie. So I can't say I didn't have any fun. It was really funny. Again, I enjoyed the visuals. The action could have a little left to be desired. I thought the action some of the action sequences were great and clever, especially some of the Yondu stuff and the arrow. I mean, you could never get fed up with that arrow.
Of course. There's this whole sequence dedicated to that, boy, which was excellent.
Yeah.
Too long and too over the top, but so great.
Some of the other action sequences just didn't gel. I didn't enjoy it anywhere near as much as I did. The first film had some really, really clever action for me. I really enjoyed the set pieces in that. This one didn't really have that. Overall, it had this one sequence at the end with Star-Lord, which was hilarious, and I really didn't see it coming. It was so funny. I wanted to have more of that, a little more of it. Involving a classic 80s video game character. That was really goddamn funny to me.
Yeah.
But overall, it just as I said, this one didn't gel together. It didn't come together the way it should have. I don't know with the comparison I have, but I think of it as probably like, again, typical sequel license, probably like the Raid and Raid 2. Like, it had bigger, but not better.
Exactly better as such. Yeah.
Right.
Same.
Right.
Yeah. And also I forgot to mention the music. I mean, the hits are there, but I wouldn't say there was like those particular songs like Hooked on a Feeling that really stuck with you at the very, you know, after leaving the cinema. Like, you heard a few songs that are familiar, but there were a few that I honestly never heard of. But I was glad that I was introduced to them through this movie. So yes, I'm going to be checking out their stuff, but still there wasn't like, you know, those 1-2 songs that were like earworms that just really stuck with me, like how, you know, the first movie did, basically.
Right. No, for me, so for me, the music was good, but it again, because I won't say the edit is bad, it's just more because the story don't flow together very well. You don't really enjoy how it paces the music together. So, like, okay, in Guardians 1, to me, that opening sequence with Star-Lord, like, exploring this weird little cave with the music starting, that was like next to perfect and flawless. While the opening sequence with this, while clever and very funny, just, I don't know. I don't know if it's just because we got used to what to expect. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I think the issue is because I think the issue is because the visuals are just all over the place. Though you can't help. It's like your focus is like, it's hard to focus on music when you have just all these eye candy shots just hitting you one shot after the other. It's kind of hard.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. And that's much. Anyway, I'm gonna give my rating quick.
Yeah. Please do. I was just about to ask you that.
Yeah. Boy, this is a hard one, but it barely squeaks an IMAX. So it's a low IMAX. Only because of the visual.
Fair enough.
Very low IMAX. Only because of the visuals. It's because it's funny, but that script just didn't come together the way it should. And again, he sacrificed script and plot for characters, and I kind of get why he did that. And it have a lot of great emotional moments, but it just didn't stick to me because for me, theme and character moments need to bleed from the plot, not be subsidiary, and that was my problem.
Yeah.
The plot need to come first, and then you have to bleed, and then you let that come out from the plot. It need to be relevant and logical, and a lot of the stuff just didn't feel logical. It just kind of came out of nowhere for me. But yeah, still pretty good. It's actually not that high. It's actually pretty in the middle of the rung of MCU rankings overall. But yeah, I enjoyed it, but I was a little underwhelmed.
Yeah. Well, I personally felt the same way too. I really wanted to enjoy it as much as I did the first film. I was just really expecting to enjoy it just as much, if not if not more than the first one. But unfortunately, though, just once again, because it was just trying to do so much in that story. Remind me a lot like how, Matrix Reloaded and, some of those other sequels are, where you want to be big, you want to be bold. I think I mentioned this before with another review. And then you want to bring in all these characters, and then they have their different stories and all these different things and all these different themes.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, it's kind of like, well, remember when the first movie was about this, and now all of a sudden it's about all these different things, and now we have gold people chasing these guys down, and
no, but that's the thing, it does. I mean, some people have the idea because it does separate itself almost entirely from the rest of the MCU. There's no mention of Infinity Gems or anything like that.
Which is great, actually.
I'm
glad that it
right.
could be
A lot of people actually
thing.
prefer that. A lot of people probably like the fact that it's its own thing now. It doesn't really have to connect to Infinity War. In fact, a lot of people kind of don't really care about Infinity War and the whole Thanos thing at this point, because he never really do anything, So I don't know.
Yeah.
I've encountered a good few people really defending this movie, saying it's much better than the first and four, but they give the reasons of just show what their biases are and what my biases are. My bias is towards narrative. Their bias is towards emotion and character. And so that's where
mine is the narrative too as well.
Right, exactly. And that's why I think this film doesn't really gel together for me personally.
Yeah.
Narrative needs to take precedent, not characters necessarily. But that's teacher's own in that sense as
yeah. But that's
why I don't really fight. I'm not really fighting you down or good. It is not a hill I'm willing to die on. I'll just that's just my opinion about that.
Cool, no problem.
So that's about it.
Yeah, but for me though, I still had a blast with this one. I do see myself watching this again. Maybe not a third time, but I do see myself watching this second time. Maybe one day I might, buy this thing on Blu-ray. I currently don't have the first one on Blu-ray. I want to, but I do see myself, buying this one when it does come out, because just off the visuals alone. But still, for me, I would just give this a decent 4 to 5 stars. I do recommend that you check it out as soon as. But just don't go in expecting this thing to be, infinitely better than the first movie. It's not. It's a nice continuation of the stuff that we love from the first movie, but I just wish that the story was a lot more focused. And okay, yes, you want to give a lot of, screen time for our favorite characters and whatnot, and give them their own stories and make them care and whatnot.
Yeah.
But still, you had to have just one. You had to have focus. You have to have something for us to really stay focused on, instead of like 5 different things we're supposed to try to keep up with. Unfortunately, I felt that the film kind of bogged down because of that. But still, despite all that, it's the same good. Guardians of the Galaxy goodness that we love from the first one. It's here again. So just for that reason alone, and of course, the gorgeous looking visuals. Yeah, go see this on big screen. Go check it out on IMAX if you get the chance. Though, but just once again, don't go in expecting this thing to be any better than the first one. But I'll just say this inclusive though, in terms of like MCU sequels, I would say this is like the second best. The first one still is Winter Soldier. But I would put this as a number 2, and I would actually put Thor: The Dark World as third, because I actually enjoyed it way more than I know you did. I actually enjoyed more than expected.
So for me,
Iron Man
the worst
2 definitely is the last, fourth one.
The last, right? Yeah. Iron Man 3 is a movie that, well, in many ways, Iron Man 3 is a movie I look at in the same with this one, where the core story and narrative stuff you didn't really care for, but because all these set pieces and humor was so great, you didn't care. Like, I remember really enjoying Iron Man 3, even though because I'm one of those that don't really give a shit about the Mandarin, so it didn't matter. Whatever. Yeah.
Right. So like we say in closing though, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, not as great as the first one, but still definitely worth checking out on big screen.